Okay, hello. Uh, I thought I'd just do a little update on the Cricut, the maker that I got with the idea of, I suppose, making models. Someone was asking, how good is it? Is it worth it? Um, so as a recap, I got the Maker 3. It was, I think, about £500 invested because the machine's I think 400, but then to cut the different materials you need different tools, and everything very quickly starts adding up, as with everything. Um, I did look at laser cutters, and I also looked at 3D printer with the idea of that's sort of, I suppose, the other ways of making little small things. I went for this because it allowed me to do some other things, cutting vinyl um, and stuff, um, which all worked quite well. Veneer as well, which I think you would just set on fire in a laser cutter, and obviously you can't 3D print. Um, so, like everything, it's a compromise of what you want to spend and what you can do. This is it, chuntering away in the back. So I'm using what they call heavy chipboard, which is, it's not really chipboard, it's laminated paper, cardboardy thing. But it comes in 2mm, if it'll focus, and is, it's fragile enough. It takes about 5 passes with a sharp scalpel to cut it, whereas the machine reckons it takes 24 passes. Now I find that most shapes it's cut out effectively after about 15 to 20. It does the first pass and then estimates how long it's going to take. So it's not quick, but then whilst cutting the rectangles would be fairly easy to do by hand, cutting the little detailed curves repeatedly, accurately, I would probably spend an hour doing it and your arm would be tired. So it is easy to just design something and then let it go. Here it is. There's a couple of funny cuts on this because I tried to use it to cut something else. It actually ran off the side of the board. Because of that, the knife dropped down, and then it was trying to drag it further, a deeper cut, which it tried to do a couple of times, and then it said, nope, there's too much weight on this, and went into error. And then it's sort of scrap. That said, obviously, if you don't mind the surface being a bit damaged, you can just load it back in and send it going again. It gets harder to align if you're putting a small piece in. Obviously, if you fill the entire cutting mat with the material, then it's quite good. The other thing is, this is a 30cm by 60cm mat, which is a bit excessive because most materials come in 30 by 30 squares. But I needed it to cut a big piece of veneer. That said, there is the veneer. It cut both the plain one and the self-adhesive, and obviously very accurately. So if you wanted something to dress up this card, it'll be ideal for that. So that said, it probably can't cut fine enough and accurately enough for the sort of filigree of things like the Metcalf kits that have the little laser cut gates and things. You wouldn't be able to cut this. It just doesn't seem that accurate, or I'm not that good at it. But for what it does, it certainly allows you to create unusual things. It'll cut plastic hard. So certainly if you just want a lot of basic shapes or something out of a base material, it's really good, and it'll do some fancy dressing. And what I've used it as well for, which worked really well, was using the vinyl adhesive sheet, and I was able to cut out sort of a window frame template, lift that, transfer it onto clear plastic, and you've got nice neat window frames without having to spend ages doing it. So yeah, I'm happy with it. As I say, I think I would probably also like a 3D printer, but then that's doing something totally different that you wouldn't expect this machine to do. So yeah, I'll add on at the end of this some either stills or a little video of what it's actually cutting. And yeah, okay. Okay, so I've just stopped it. I think it did 12 out of 24 cuts there, and you can kind of see one of the problems is because obviously the fingers are the bits I want, so it's not really a problem, but the waste material in between, because obviously you're running a knife blade down, it slowly compresses and then it starts to lift out. And then you get the slight problem of you can end up with lots of little bits that then start getting caught in the cutting head as it moves back and forth, and all of that, and things start to go wrong. The other thing is, for the thick materials, they suggest you tape them down. Then when you remove the tape, it's very easy, especially with this, that you take the nicer finished layer off. It's not terrible if it, but if you wanted that smooth finish, it becomes a problem. So if I turn it over after the 12 cuts, you can see that, some of these are actually cut, but the sort of shorter cuts and also the curves haven't cut yet fully, but they're probably thin enough now. And obviously you've got a thick material, so you've got a good edge that I can cut them out quite easily with a scalpel. And that's what I found occasionally, rather than it took about half an hour to get to this stage. So for them actually to be loose, it was probably going to take at least another 20 minutes. And then you would have started having to try and pull this off as it goes back and forth, because otherwise things go wrong. And yeah, so that's one of the cheats that I've found for using this. As you can see, if you space them out further, you don't have the same problem. This is just how the computer had spaced them, and I didn't have enough material and I didn't really want to use another sheet, so that works.